everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is just going to be about how I reupholstered this futon to this beautiful, luxurious, fancy looking one from that nasty old brown one. So first and foremost, I'm going to tell you what you need and what I used to get the job done. So for the deconstruction part, I use these. Some call them pliers, some call wire cutters, but I use them, and a flathead screwdriver to take out the the staples from the back of the futon. And then before I even got started, I painted 2 strips of the staples with this black acrylic gloss paint. Any paint can do, it's just black paint. You can use nail polish even if you want to. And these are the type of staples that I have, that I bought along with the staple gun, which is here. Just, regular staple gun. And then your basic sewing kit that comes with all these fancy things, but all you would really need is the seam ripper, which is this, and the scissors, and maybe the tape measure if you want to be precise. I didn't use the tape measure because I didn't care to. I just eyeballed it and cut. And then I bought the buttons from Walmart. I bought 4 packs of these 3, and I only used 8 buttons. So yes, and then yarn, because this is how you loop the button on to pull it through. So anyway, first thing I did was that, we found this futon by the dumpster, and we picked it up. We was like, okay, it's only been here for a couple hours. Somebody's moving out, and we're just moving in. So one man's trash is another man's treasure. And so we picked it up. We cleaned it off because at first I didn't know that I was gonna reupholster it. Then I was like, I don't really like this brown. And so I asked my sister, like, yo, what do you want to do? Like, should I reupholster it or what? And she was like, do what you want, because I'm not going to be doing anything with it anyway. And so I was like, okay, girl, I'm going to reupholster it. Okay, girl. And so I wrapped my head around the idea that I was taking apart this futon, because I thought it was a much bigger project than it actually was. It was way easier than I thought it would be. And so the first initial fabric that we were gonna use was like this bright kind of stretchy jersey fabric, bright pink fabric that we were gonna use. And we decided to go out and buy, a more neutral kind of fabric. But how I measured this amount of fabric was I used the previous fabric we were gonna use as a guide, because I knew that amount of fabric was enough. So I just stretched it out and I measured that, and I was like, okay, let's go to the fabric store. And I got 3 yards of this upholstery fabric. This is actual fabric meant for upholstery because it's sturdier than regular fabric. And I know you may want to go the cheaper route, because I was trying to, trust me, frugal friend all the way. I was trying to go and find like a sturdier regular fabric so it could be cheaper. But it didn't work out, and I was just like, look, you cut a lot of corners, Destiny. You need to just commit to something and don't always cut corners. You get what you pay for. My brother always tells me, you get what you pay for. And we had a coupon, so it even came out to be cheaper than we expected it to be anyway. So anyway, I got 3 yards of this fabric, and I knew that was going to be enough. And so first and foremost, before I started deconstructing the futon, I painted the staples. I didn't know we had paintbrushes, so you can use your fingers, but I had to go to work that day and I didn't want black paint all over my fingers. So I used gloves and a Q-tip, and I just used a Q-tip and I spread the paint all over the staples on all sides, and I just let it dry. And then while that was drying, I moved to the deconstruction of the futon. So I started at the back, the top back, and I used this flathead flathead screwdriver to pry, like lift up the staples so that they kind of pop out, and then you go in with your pliers and you pull them out. And a lot of them broke, I guess because they were old, or they're not as sturdy as you think they are, so you're gonna have to get something to pull them out. Otherwise you hammer them down so that because they're sharp. I got cut a couple times, but the sharp shards that are left in the wood after they break can cut your fabric, cut your hands, cut people while they're walking by. So either pull them all the way out or hammer them down. And so I just did that for the whole entire back part, as much as I needed, just enough to release the fabric from the wood, because I didn't want to really like take apart the whole entire futon. So once I finished releasing the fabric, I found out that the fabric wasn't just like laid on there. Oh no, they got fancy, okay? They sewed the fabric. So here's the fabric, here's a layer of stuffing, and then a layer of interfacing. And they sewed all of that together. So when I released the fabric, I also released the stuffing and the interfacing all together. And so I had like just this one big pad of fabric, stuffing, interfacing sandwich, and I had to go through and stitch rip or seam rip all of that stuff, because I was just trying to get rid of the fabric. I wanted to keep the stuffing and the interfacing because I'm cheap and I didn't want to buy new stuffing or interfacing because that stuff can run up, and I just wanted to preserve as much of that as possible. So this is when your seam ripper comes in. And as I was watching Netflix every day when I came back from work, and I was watching Netflix, I was just seam rip, just ripping up the seams until the entire piece of fabric was done, like was completely off of the stuffing and the interfacing. Just these